River tubing has been on my bucket list for many years now, and it's something I've been wanting and planning on doing, but just never got around to it. So when I was in the Smoky Mountains, I decided to finally do my dream, but it didn't end up quite exactly as I was hoping it would. So this is not going to be a complaint video, but I will be giving my honest opinion about river tubing, specifically the Smoky Mountain River rat tubing and rafting. I'm exploring the horizons, and here I am trying to have a good time on the river. So I arrived originally in the parking lot. Nice thing about this parking lot is that it is free. This is going to be Outpost A in Townsend, Tennessee at Wares Valley Road. Outpost A is part of the Smoky Mountain River Rat Tubing and Rafting Company setup. They also have another area where you can actually take an actual raft to go tubing in. And so this is just the tubing only area, kind of a calm area, but one ticket that you buy will actually give you access to both sides. And seeing there is going to be a gift shop, there's going to be plenty of things in case if you forgot a water wallet, like if you need it for your cell phone, if you need sunscreen, you can kind of look around. You can see some of the items that they have here. They got snacks, they got drinks. Kind of hard to bring drinks with you while you're tubing out here. So this was actually a very nice anemone. And also I happen to like the water wallets a lot because my water wallet broke at the last minute, and the one that I bought from there was reasonably priced and it was actually better. This is where you check in next to some bathrooms over there. They will check in your car keys, so that's great, so you don't have to lose your car keys somewhere in the river. If you lose them there, I don't think you'll ever get them back. So I thought that was an excellent service, and I would recommend you do all your bookings online, as they do give you a discount on there, and you can also sign the waivers on there. Once you get done with any shopping and you're looking around or checking your keys, then the next step is to go over to get your tube, where they have various tubes for adults, also children. And they do allow dogs even to go tubing here under 50 pounds. And they also have life jackets that you are supposed to wear. Near the main check-in area, there were lines to use the bathroom over there. The bathroom's over here. I didn't see any lines over there, so you can thank me later if you decide to go on this trip. In fact, even though I didn't like it, I would actually hope that you could watch my video and get excited about going on this tour, because this isn't something that I'm trying to beat up on river rat tubing for. So to start your adventure, you're going to go down this culvert-made tunnel, and it's going to take over to the river itself. And it's pretty simple at this point. All you do is just put the tube in the river and get your behind on top of it and start floating. The river is very rocky. Now, one thing I did learn is you want to go to the left of the river right after the main outpost, because if you go to the right, it is full of rocks and you're going to start getting your butt stuck, and you're going to have to get out and walk in order to get out of it. I'm not going to get into a lot of details, as I didn't film this part on purpose, and I also don't want to cause embarrassment in case this person ever watches the video, that there was one person, we'll just call that person George, and that person, George, got stuck on the rocks and was having some trouble trying to get out of the rocks, as the rocks were very slippery and difficult for George to walk on. And so I ended up doing a very strenuous workout trying to pull George out from the rocks, and it took me about a half an hour of pushing and pulling and tugging. And I can tell you right now, I was more tired than what probably I would have if I would have spent 2 hours at the gym. So that kind of wore me off, but then afterwards George was fine and was able to continue on and enjoy the rest of the day. So I just showed you some underwater video of what's underneath you the whole time. Some of the parts are very shallow, some of them are pretty deep. There are times where you're not going to be able to touch the bottom at all, and so you do want to make sure you have some sort of foot protection, water shoes, because those rocks are just everywhere. There's just a huge gravel pit full of rocks underneath there, all smooth river stones. The river itself has some very interesting features, as here's a deeper section, by the way, because as you go through there, you will find that there's strong currents in some areas. Sometimes the currents will push you right into the side of the river. You don't really want to be in the side of the river too often, because that's where you're going to find some snakes. And then other times you're going to be kind of stuck floating very peacefully and tranquilly in just one section for a while before you can finally catch the river again, and then it'll take you down some very rapid sections as well. Here's an area where I actually got stuck in. Now, the way you get unstuck is sometimes you have to get out of your raft and actually push or walk your way out. Or sometimes if you bring a stick, in this case I actually brought a hiking stick, and you'll see it throughout the video. Sometimes you can just push yourself unstuck. I would not recommend you try this unless you bring some sort of paddle or hiking stick. And the rafts are a little, or sorry, I shouldn't call them rafts. The tubes are a little hard to control, and you don't know what direction you're going to be flowing in. But I would recommend that as you flow, you do scan the river ahead of you, so that way if you see people going to one side of the river or another, you go to that side as well, so that way you probably won't get stuck there. And just, again, look for the rocks and everything, and try to avoid the more shallow areas if you don't want to be getting stuck on there. And of course, you do want to keep your items that you take down to a minimum. Fortunately, they do have lockers for rent if you need them, or you could also just lock your items in the car. And then, like I said earlier, you can go to the check-in area and you can actually check your keys in, so you don't have to worry about your keys being at the bottom of this river someplace. And then also, if you just happen to like admiring the river, I did read that they actually have cabanas to rent here. So that might be something you might be interested for some people that may be interested in visiting this area. The nice thing is once you buy your ticket, if you start in the morning, like when they open up, around 10 a.m., you can actually keep going back over and over again. Or you can go from Outpost A, the tubing section, and then go do the rafting later if you want. On average, it usually takes most people around 2 hours. And once in a while, you'll come across some deep sections that you can, get off your raft and use as a swimming hole. In this case, it looks like an area where people were doing some jumping off the rocks. Just one thing to be aware of on here is I think they do require the life jackets for very good reasons. Remember, I mentioned earlier that the currents are strong in some areas, and sometimes the rafts do flip over. One member of my family who was rafting, the raft flipped over, and that particular family member also happened to be wearing a hat that got washed away and downriver. Amazingly, we actually recovered the hat later on down the river, like right at the exit point. And then there's all these little rocky areas that you got to be careful about that I got sucked right into, right over here, and I got stuck really, really bad here. And I couldn't get out. I was trying to work my way out for a little bit. Eventually, I just had to get out of the tube and walk up a river. And since the current was extremely strong, it was very rocky and slippery. I can't say that was a very easy thing to get unstuck from. But once I got out, had no problem moving. At this point, it felt like I was moving pretty fast because the current was just strong. It was just sweeping me down the river. And also, if you do bring your cell phone, make sure it's in a good case. My GoPro camera, I had it inside a solid plastic protective case. And it's probably a good thing I did, because between being banged up on the rocks and when I had to help the person that George earlier getting unstuck, and even when I had to get myself unstuck and just being jostled around at times, I actually damaged the case. It probably would have broke the GoPro camera had I not had a protective case on this for filming. And, there were people that I could definitely tell were certainly enjoying themselves. And I know that, as you can tell, this probably be the reason why I'm talking. I did not find this fun at all. I mean, I can't say this was the worst thing in the world, but it, we'll show you more parts as this goes on. But this probably, I would say, is just not for everybody. I personally would rather go hiking or mountain biking myself. But this is definitely not a lazy river like what you would get at a, we'll just say like some sort of water park. And this does close at 5 p.m. So if you want to spend the whole day here, that is certainly going to be an option. The last check-in is going to be at 4:30 p.m. So if you show up at the last minute, you might as well consider closed after if it's past 4:30. So I put the GoPro back in the camera just to see how close the river was in some places. And if you decide that you want to do the rafting section, that area is going to be in Hartford, Tennessee, which is nearby. You see the snake? The snake was right on that concrete area. Hey, leave a comment if you did see it. And also, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps out my channel a lot. So the price, I think it was like $24.99 per adult. And it was $19.39 for a child. I saw that if you do go in there, it does cost more money. So remember, you want to do it online. And dogs, I just happened to look it up, even though I didn't take a pooch with me, but it was $14.99. So this was kind of a strange assortment. On one hand, you're going from very calm waters, and then there's a little alcove here, or I don't know what to call it, but these rock formations. I noticed that for some reason that little area likes to try to suck a lot of people into it, and you had to kind of swim and paddle away to get out of the current that would lead into there, and I didn't want to get trapped in there, so I was able to get out, but I noticed it tried to suck me and a couple other people right into that little section. But you know, you do get some very scenic views and get to go underneath some interesting bridges. You'll probably have been noticing there's houses along the way. This area is lined with private property. I imagine that would be interesting. You buy a house there, and several times a day you see a bunch of people floating past your house in tubes. But there are usually no trespassing signs just about everywhere. I kind of get the impression that the owners really do not want anybody getting out of their raft or really walking onto their property. And plus, there's no way to get back to Outpost A at the parking lot if you actually do try to go into their yard. So once you get in there, you're kind of committed to the whole thing. Although they do have employees strategically stationed at various parts of the river that monitor any individuals inside the water. But remember, most of the time you're going to be on your own. There is no lifeguard. So if you get stuck, you're going to have to get stuck on your own or wait until somebody's willing to help you out. And sometimes people get washed down past you themselves, so it may be hard for them to stop and help you. If you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribing to this channel is free. Another thing I just want to mention to you is I do have a Bible channel that combines nature videos as well as short Bible readings. So if you want to check that out, just click on the clock that will pop up at the end of this video. But it's called Minute Bible Readings if you want to go see that page. And I also have other videos involving Tennessee, as well as places in southern New Mexico, as well as Texas, and I'm slowly adding more and more videos. So if you want to subscribe and see that content, that'd be great. And if you have any questions about this, you can leave it in the comments. So going back to why I wouldn't do this, I just didn't find this relaxing or particularly fun because it was just all over the place, the inconsistencies. I guess I like consistency more. One moment you're being pushed and getting flipped over in your tube or almost flipped over, getting stuck on things, and then having to struggle to get off of it. Then you're being pushed into the snake territory, into the sides or into little areas that you don't want to be into. And next minute it can get really boring while you're just floating, waiting for it to catch the next current. It's not something I like. It's just too many extremes, and you're always having to look around, watch your back, because a lot of times you'll float backwards. So, I mean, some people, I don't think that would bother them, but for me it does. So this is going to be the exit point. Once you get out of the exit point, there will be employees there, and there will be other people as well as a bus for you. You hand off your tube. You're going to see an automated machine here in a few minutes, and then you get on the little short bus and you head your way back. But I thought this was kind of cool the way they had this set up here. So Smoky Mountain River Rat Tubing and Rafting Company, They're a great business. Not going to say anything bad about them.